Recently, UK spy agency MI5 raised Northern Ireland's terrorism level to severe. The major issue for Ukraine authorities remains that the security situation is tense in the region, as the police events are expected to cost around £7 million. This comes after police warned of a potential public disorder linked to the disapproval of the deal by the Republicans. Earlier, a group of mass protesters attacked a police vehicle with a petrol bomb as they opposed the Good Friday peace accord. After a half-day visit in Northern Ireland, Biden, who is fiercely proud of his Irish heritage, will then travel to the Republic of Ireland for almost 3 days of meetings with officials and distant relatives. Well, for more on this, our correspondent, Alex Izat, is joining us live from London. Alex, good to see you. So what are the elements of the Good Friday deal which remain unresolved even until now?
Well, the Good Friday Agreement is what Joe Biden, the US president, was saying today, that needs to be celebrated. It did put a halt to that 30 years of fighting, although it hasn't put it to a halt completely. Obviously, we're still seeing dissident groups. You mentioned there about the petrol bombs, but there was also pipe bombs found in the cemetery this week, and there was an attempted murder of a police officer. Now, these troubles have been going on for centuries, and that isn't stopping, it looks like, sadly, anytime soon. So there is still much to have a discussion with regards. What it comes down to is the island of Ireland and Northern Ireland. Some people want this reunification, which would mean that Ireland itself is a whole country rather than being part of the United Kingdom. And of course, with Brexit and the Windsor framework, and previous to that, it was a Northern Ireland Protocol, has been really upsetting a lot of people who really want to just see the country come together as a whole rather than being split into two. Obviously, Joe Biden wasn't really there today to try and enforce that discussion. In fact, in his speech earlier, he was trying to be very clever and careful with what he was exactly saying, because as we know, Northern Ireland does not have a sitting parliament at the moment, and that's because the DUP is against the Northern Ireland Protocol and now the Windsor framework, and they don't want to be pushing forward when there is so much argument still to have. But Joe Biden did say that he would really encourage a conversation and to move forward. And he did speak to all those 5 leaders ahead of that speech there. But since then, we have heard from the DUP again, who said that this is not going to change anything, and they want more constructive conversations. The people are really the ones that are missing out in Northern Ireland, because they don't have a elevated parliament which they can go to have their issues resolved. Because of course, Joe Biden will be speaking to those leaders again, and no doubt other leaders, as he takes on his journey around Ireland and goes to his ancestral home. But for now, there doesn't seem to be any movement within the political spectrum.
Alex, thank you so much for that update. Alex Izat, our correspondent, joining us live from London. The question many are asking, is the United States looking to gain lost ground in West Asia on the back of China's peace moves in the region? U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan spoke with Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. They discussed Iran and steps aimed at ending the war in Yemen. Sullivan and Crown Prince Salman also discussed broader trends towards de-escalation in the region. They also talked about underscoring the need to maintain deterrence against threats from Iran and elsewhere. Sullivan reaffirmed Washington's unwavering commitment to ensure that Iran can never acquire a nuclear weapon. An Iranian delegation arrived in Saudi Arabia on Wednesday, paving the way for the reopening of diplomatic missions. The announcement came just days after a Saudi delegation made a similar visit to Tehran. The developments came after Beijing recently brokered a deal to restore relations between Saudi Arabia and Iran. The United States was largely left out of the process, which was later widely termed as China's diplomatic coup in West Asia. The foreign ministers of Iran and Saudi Arabia met in Beijing last week. In the China-brokered deal, the two sides agreed to end the diplomatic rift following years of hostility that fueled conflicts across West Asia.
Okay, you guys with Ukraine media, right? Okay, you're going to come upstairs to film the opening comments upstairs. there's going to be an honor guard here.
Imagine your employer giving you a full year's pay, granting you leave so your shares can vest, and then being able to avail a slew of job support opportunities to find your next big job. Too good to be true? Well, that's what Google and Amazon are doing in Europe. But there's a twist. Take a look at this report to find out what that is.
Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Twitter, these are some of the biggest names in Silicon Valley. And they're known for hiring the best talent in tech. But it isn't all smooth sailing for these big tech companies given the current macroeconomic outlook. Margin pressure has reduced shareholder returns at most of these companies, and if there's someone they love more than their customers and their employees, it is their shareholders. While these companies have announced big job cuts in the US and elsewhere, they are struggling to fire employees in some European countries. That's because countries like France and Germany have the most stringent employee protection laws and unions in the world. So these companies have found an innovative way to make employees in these locations leave. Amazon has reportedly announced voluntary departure packages to employees in such countries. According to reports, employees with 5 to 8 years of experience will get a whole year's pay to resign. And those with ESOPs have been granted departure leaves so their shares can vest and be paid out as bonuses. Google has also announced similar packages to reduce its headcount in the continent. Now you might be wondering why companies would pay a whole year's salary to make people leave. Well, it can help companies downsize and save costs in the long run. It can also make operations more cost-effective by increasing efficiency. But the most important is legal protection and unemployment insurance claims. A high unemployment insurance claim against a company can increase their state tax rates and penalties, which can be avoided by negotiating packages that benefit the employer and the employee. But given the current job market, will employees benefit from taking the severance? Or are big tech companies just finding innovative ways to get lean at any cost?
That's all the time we have from this news desk on WION here in New York City. I'm Susan Terfrani. Thank you so much for staying with us and watching. But don't go away, more news and headlines coming up next, only on WION.
Many others.
Gravitas tells you stories which others won't. And tonight we will tell you about this new strategic map that is being drawn.
They say your enemy's enemy is your friend. Is that the foundation of the new defense bridge between India and America?
This is what separates us from others who claim to be telling you global stories that matter. In the last 3 days, WION has been traveling across Syria. You are in Latakia city right now. Tell us, what is the situation on ground at Gravitas? We don't just tell you stories from selected countries from around the world.
2 years since the Myanmar military coup, the people of Myanmar continue to live in a nightmare.
Because it does not suit their propaganda, or because they are too scared to speak truth to power.
Stand back.
The stress of our world can take a toll on our physical and emotional health. Here, in New York's Catskill Mountains, lies a luxurious place of healing called U.S Wellness Center. The U.S Wellness Center provides 500,000 square feet of natural methods to manage diabetes, hypertension, chronic pain, obesity, depression, anxiety, and other conditions. We use the traditions of centuries-old natural science from India, yoga, Ayurveda, acupuncture, and naturopathy in personalized programs that help you take charge of your own health. A minimum 5-day stay is recommended for best results. Book now at yo1.com.
Ready, stop! Time, on! On the guard, hold! Forward, down! Forward! Center, mid! Dress, center, dress! Ready, front! Ceremonial. At E. 1, 2, 3.
Stay connected with the world through WION. Like the page on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter for new alerts. Instagram for videos and images. And the website for the latest news, views, and analysis. WIOnews.com. World is one.
Gravitas tells you stories which others won't. And tonight we will tell you about this new strategic map that is being drawn.
They say your enemy's enemy is your friend. Is that the foundation of the new defense bridge between India and America?
This is what separates us from others who claim to be telling you global stories that matter. In the last 3 days, WION has been traveling across Syria. You are in Latakia city right now. Tell us, what is the situation on ground? At Gravitas, we don't just tell you stories from selected countries from around the world.
2 years since the Myanmar military coup, the people of Myanmar continue to live in a nightmare.
Because it does not suit their propaganda, or because they are too scared to speak truth to power.
The stress of our world can take a toll on our physical and emotional health. Here, in New York's Catskill Mountains, lies a luxurious place of healing called U.S Wellness Center. The U.S Wellness Center provides 500,000 square feet of natural methods to manage diabetes, hypertension, chronic pain, obesity, depression, anxiety, and other conditions. We use the traditions of centuries-old natural science from India, yoga, Ayurveda, acupuncture, and naturopathy in personalized programs that help you take charge of your own health.
Hello everyone, welcome back. You're watching WION World is One. I'm Shivan Chandna. This is another edition of WION Speed News. Let's get you started. U.S. President Joe Biden was in Belfast to mark the 25th anniversary of the Good Friday Peace Agreement. On the occasion, he spoke on the importance of reaching a power-sharing agreement and peace in the region. British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak said he spoke to U.S. President Joe Biden about the incredible economic opportunities for Northern Ireland and described both countries as very close partners. Top defense and diplomatic officials from the US and Philippines have announced they will complete a roadmap on US security assistance to the Philippines in the next 5 to 10 years. US Defense Secretary said they discussed the delivery of priority defense platforms, including radars, drones, military transport aircraft, and coastal and air defense systems. Philippines Foreign Minister also said that their partnership